Hey guys, what's up? This is Doctorian, and I want to have a little discussion about what? Because the question right now, what is a Draenor? Did you unsub yet? Are you bored yet? Because God knows I am. Because I think there is a lack of content in Warlords Draenor. I think there is a lack of content in World of Warcraft right now. And 5.4 in Mists of Pandaria was a disaster. But we're not getting much better things ahead of us. So I want to have a little discussion. What are we seeing right now? We're seeing Blizzard doing being kind of lazy. I want to call them lazy. Because they're releasing they are having some content. I'm gonna call it some, and then they have the same content 3 times and calling it different content, which is just not true. So let's dive into this. Right now we have the expansion War on Draenor, and don't get me wrong, the leveling is great. It's amazing, it's fun, it's good, and all that kind of shit. Tip of my hat to Blizzard for making the leveling so much fun and entertaining again. But then when you're hitting level 100, you're gonna do the dungeons. You already did 4 dungeons during your leveling period, and then you're getting like 3 more, which makes it a total of 7. And then you're gonna do the same 7 dungeons in heroic mode, which is really easy. It's not hard. It's not really hardcore content. It's not really difficult content. And then you're gonna gear up, and then you're gonna hit like 610 item level. You're gonna dive into looking for raid, which is absolutely trash. It's 615 or 615 item level is what you need to get into LFR, which is LFR is trash. It's just all the bosses are just big bags of HP which drop loot, no big deal. And then you dive into normal. So we got high mole normal at release. 1 or 2 weeks after release. I think 2 weeks after release high mole came out. That's okay. It was unlocked, whatever you want to call it. And we had 2 weeks of that. After 2 weeks you had high mole opened, and then you're gonna do the normal, and then you're gonna do on heroic, which is nothing difficult and nothing. There's no difference except like the boss has more HP, players take more damage, and you have to do slightly more DPS and more healing. There are no new tactics. There's nothing new going around. Nothing new going on in a boss fight. If you stay out of fire in normal, you're gonna stay out of fire in heroic, and that's exactly the same thing. You're doing the same. It's literally the same thing. And so that's not new content. It's not different content. And then you have high mole on Mythic. And Mythic are new tactics coming in finally, but still, I mean, I know Mythic is hard. I know it's not easy, but still, it's the same content with some variation in it. But it's the same raid. It's the same environment. It's the same bosses, slightly different mechanics. So then we had high mole for a couple of weeks, or I don't know, 2 months in right now, 3 months in, and then we're getting Blackrock Foundry, which is okay. It's a second raid, but it's again looking for raid, normal, heroic, mythic. Looking for raid you can do with your eyes closed. Normal is seriously easy. Getting to heroic, it's not that hard as well. Of course it's harder, but it's the same contact. Mythic, it's the same story all over again. So I think Blizzard is being so lazy, and I want to have some comparison. So I'm going back to the Burning Crusade to show you how it was back then and what content meant. So to be relevant, let's dive into Burning Crusade. When Burning Crusade came out, we leveled from 60 to 70, right? And at 70 you had 15 dungeons at release. There were 15 dungeons. Blizzard said, you're 70, go get them. I think we had around 6 or 7 during the leveling period. And the rest of them could be 8, I'm not entirely sure, but the rest of them you unlock when you were, think, level 70. Those 15 were also there in heroic mode, which was really hard. Those heroic modes, we never had more difficult heroic dungeons than in the Burning Crusade. Not even in Wrath of Lich King or in Cataclysm. There's nothing even close to it. You absolutely was almost impossible to do the heroic dungeons if you didn't have some raid gear from Karazhan. But so we had 15 dungeons, normal and heroic, and we had 5 raids at release. You started with Karazhan. So, and when you cleared Karazhan, there was Gruul, Magteridon, Serpent Shrine Caverns, and the Tempest Keep. That was a shit ton of content. The journey always continued. We have to do these dungeons. Then we went to Karazhan. Then my guild went to Gruul's lair to kill off Heimel and King Heimel and Gruul himself. And after we finished with him, we went to Magteridon. And after we cleared Magteridon, we went to Serpent Shrine Caverns. And after we finally cleared Serpent Shrine Caverns, we moved to Tempest Keep to clear that. And when we were done, and that took us quite some time, because those were well, Gruul and Magteridon weren't large raids, but Serpent Shrine Caverns and Tempest Keep were large raids and took a lot of time to clear. And then a patch came out, and then we had Mount Hajal, Battle of Mount Hajal and Black Temple in there. And then 2 more raids with a lot of bosses, with a lot of content to dig through. All that content was there. It was released again. And those heroic dungeons were still very difficult. I mean, with the raid gear after we were at tier 4, we could do them, but they had still chances to drop epics at the final boss of each heroic dungeon, which was tier 5 level. So that was actually the best gear before you went into Mount Hajal and Black Temple. So there was, when you were not raiding, doing heroic dungeons was always relevant content. You could always get tier 5 level gear, and Mount Hajal and Black Temple dropped the tier 6 gear. And we had the tier 6.5 because after Black Temple we had Sunwell Plateau bringing up 1 more dungeon. We got 1 more dungeon in normal and heroic mode that was released. We had the Sunwell Plateau raid, and we got also Zul'Aman as a 10-man raid. There was so much content in the Burning Crusade, and it was such a good time. I've raided everything there, I cleared everything. The journey was never complete, and the journey was only complete when you killed not Killstress, but killed Jaden in Sunwell, and that was a long journey to get there, to dig through all that content, and it was an amazing journey. There was always the next step, the next move, the next raid. There was a new raid. It wasn't like, we did Karazhan on normal, now we're gonna do it on heroic, and then we're gonna do it on mythic, and all that kind of crap. No, if you started out raiding with Karazhan, after that you went to Gruul. Completely different raid. You had to size up from 10 to 25 men, and after Gruul you went to Magteridon, or the other way around, but whatever was your first pick. And after that you went to Serpent Shrine Caverns, an entire raid, a new environment, and then you went to Tempest Keep, a new environment again with new bosses. And when you cleared all that, Mount Hajal was waiting for you again because it was released, and those were not easy bosses, so it took a long time. There was no normal or heroic, there was 1 difficulty, and that was not easy. It's still today known as one of the most hardcore expansions ever created, the Burning Crusade. So then you had Mount Hajal and Black Temple, 2 amazing raids, which were again new environments, new bosses, new mechanics. And then Zul'Aman and Sunwell and all that. Zul'Aman was between, I think it was between, I think it was in between the Mount Hajal and Black Temple, Mount Hajal and Black Temple patch. It was somewhere in between. But then Sunwell opened again a new chapter with a new normal and heroic dungeon. The Magician's Terrace, everybody knows it by now. With a new island, with a new raid. Again, new environment, new bosses, new things to deal with. So there was always something new, the next move, the next raid, instead of, okay, we cleared this on A difficulty, we're going to B difficulty, and then once we clear B difficulty, we're going to do the same shit but then at C difficulty, and nobody cares. It's boring and frustrating. And I've been playing WoW for over 10 years, and I'm now to the point, I'm playing it for 10 years. I had my breaks. I had a break because of work. I was traveling through my entire country for my work, and I did not have time to raid, so I had to quit. I think I've been, in my 10 years, been away from the game for 3 or 4 months. But right now, I want to unsub because there is nothing to do except raiding, and I'm doing the same raid over and over again. And the other thing, that's what we can do right now in Warlords of Draenor, is farming Apexis crystals. I really do not care, and 6.1 brings nothing but a selfie camera, a jukebox, and once a week a boss you can defeat in your garrison. And for all the other stuff you have to grind. You can unlock quests, you can buy quests with garrison resources, but those are the quests with... there's the same quest you already did. Those are the Apexis crystal quests you're doing every day, which I cannot be bothered because it's grinding and boring as fuck, killing random mobs in a certain random area. And it's not content, it's being lazy game developing. There's nothing to do. We don't even have new battlegrounds. Yes, we have Ashran. I know we do. But Ashran, I've seen Ashran already. I've farmed it like crazy on my warrior to get PvP gear, and now I have that PvP gear from Ashran. I've farming it for hours. For like, I think I put like 15 hours into Ashran. I'm like, I'm done. I've seen this place. There are no new battlegrounds. Only 7 dungeons on Heroic, which are not... you don't need them anymore with the 630 item level they drop. You don't need them at all. And there's just nothing to do in the game except grinding Apexis crystals or raiding. And raiding wasn't that bad if it just was the same raid over and over and over and over again. And I know Heimel came out, but 6.1 is not going to bring a new raid. So until we see the new raid, we're going to be a couple of months ahead. It's going to take like 3 months, 4 months, I don't know, 6 months, so we'll tell when we will get a next raid or a next dungeon. I'm already sick of the dungeons. I've done them in Warlords of Draenor, I've seen them, and we're only 7 of them. We never had this so few dungeons on a release. It was always 10. The minimum, and now all of a sudden we already dropped down to 8 at Mist of Bavaria, and now they even dropped down to 7. It's crazy. It looks like Blizzard is like, it's like they're bringing out this new expansion, and subs already dropped during 14 months of 5.4. We dropped down from 10 million to 6.3, 6.2 million subs, and they're not learned a goddamn thing. They're doing the same thing, like we throw in some dungeons, and we throw in a raid, and they can do one raid on 4 different difficulties, including LFR, which is not a difficulty at all, but okay, I will take that, put it into the difficulty list. So you have LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic, and then 7 dungeons, and no new battleground except for Ashran, which is fun for the first 3 hours, and after that it becomes grinding and boring as hell. And that's it, they have to deal with it. And what I don't get is there is potential by Blizzard. There is potential in that team because the leveling experience is awesome. The environment, the Warlords of Draenor environment, is really good. The garrison is fun the first time you level it from level 1 to level 3. And the first time you set up shop and you're picking your buildings, that's fun the first time. Right now when I'm logging in, I'm like, I need to do my garrison, I need to clean up shit. It feels like mopping up, seriously. I need to mine, I need to herb, I need to do my put on the daily quest missions and the daily resources shit and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I cannot be arsed, it's just another daily hub. It's fun and all, but there is nothing. You can't accept having different buildings because of your professions, of your preference, whatever, but you can't change it that much. You can't make it really personal, give it your own colors, use some paint, whatever, or make it really fun, or give it a theme or whatever. There's nothing in there, and that could be content, doing stuff to upgrade your garrisons, to make things more fun, to give it other colors, give it other kinds of buildings, like other themes and all that kind of stuff, to have something to do, but it's not there. Everybody has the same garrisons. One has an enchanter and the other one has an engineering building, but that's about it. So, in my opinion, Blizzard has the knowledge, the professionalism, they have everything they need to make this really good expansion, to make it the best expansion. But they're not doing it. They're being lazy and making boring content, and it's frustrating me. For the first time in my 10 years, I want to unsub myself, not because of my job, not because something is popping up in real life. Because of that, I need to step away from from the game. No, I want to step away from the game. I want to unsub because it's boring and frustrating, and outside of raiding there's nothing to do. No new arenas, no new battlegrounds, and there's only a grind fest. And the reputation of the factions, I checked on all the factions. What are they giving you? They're giving you a follower or a mount, and a mount is like 5,000 gold and like 5,000 Apexis crystals. Yay, more grind work. So I grinded my ass up by killing mobs to get exalted through reputation, and then I can grind gold. Well, gold is really easy to get by, but I have to grind more Apexis crystals to buy the goddamn mount. There's nothing to work for, nothing. What, a title and a mount? And hours on hours and hours to grind? If I want to grind hours and hours, I want to have something special I can take away from that. I got 206 mounts. I'm fine with mounts, trust me. If there is some really good epic there, which was back in Burning Crusade when you mages farmed Hellfire Peninsula like crazy because there was an epic one-handed sword, and you could get that offhand somewhere else, and you would grind those factions and then gear up your character. And those epics were so good they would last quite a bit till you were like final stage of Karazhan or the first stage of or clearing Gruul of Magteridon. In that place it was. Those reputations factions helped you to gear up to progress your guild faster, and you got rewarded by getting some really good epic loot. What even in the first raids you necessarily did not replace. So it was not only to get into raiding, but you will also had those moments you would keep it for quite some while. And there's nothing like that. There's nothing to work for. Right now, I'm not even logging in right now, except for when there is a raid. And you can say, hey, you can level at 2 characters or more. I'm actually raiding on 2 characters, and it's still boring because I'm still doing the same content. I'm playing as a Guardian Wrestler Druid on one guild, I'm playing a Fury Warrior on another guild. It's still the same content. I can level 10 chars or 11 chars to level 100. It's the same leveling content. I've seen that content, I've done it. And I'm not always enjoying it. Right now I'm leveling my hunter, like you can see right here. This is some footage from today. But I've seen it. I've done this already. It's nothing new. In 6.1, yeah, the selfie camera can be fun. The Twitter function, I really don't get it. But okay, hell, put it in there. Maybe it can be fun. The jukebox, it's fun. The heirloom tab, it's a quality of life improvement. But there is no new content, no new area. No new raid, no new dungeons, no new battlegrounds, no nothing. Nothing we can use, nothing we can have some fun with. And 6.2 will probably bring us like 1 raid, and then you can clear it again on the same 4 stages. Hellfire, normal, heroic and mythic. And I'm really bored by it, and I think Blizzard is really lazy, and I'm about to unsub and quit the game. Honestly, the problem is I don't think Blizzard gives a shit, because if they would give a shit, they would learn that in 5.4 the subs were such a big drop off that they would say, hey, this happened, never again. I know they extended their team, they have more people than ever, and they if they had learned, they would say, never again will this be happening. We will not let our players have boring content. We will not let them have the same content for 14 months. We will give them variety. We learned from Mists of Pandaria, which was a failure to begin with, and we will bring good, solid content on a regular base to our player base, and which they are not. They're not doing it. They didn't learn, and that seems like careless. I think they're having like Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and all that kind of stuff is more important to them, and World of Warcraft is just on the side. It's just the cash cow which is funding their other projects, and they know still when they're doing nothing it will drop down to 6 million subs, maybe 5, but then they're doing the math. We don't need to do that much work, so that's it's okay. If you look at it money wise, the amount of time they need to put in, the amount of resources and money they need to put in, and the amount of money they get in, it's a profit, and they can use the rest of the money to put into other games. And that's, in my opinion, right now how Blizzard is working, using this as a cash cow to fund their other projects, putting now and then a raid in, get some little bit of shit done. Those players will stay subbed anyway, and we're gonna use the cash that is incoming and the profit we will make to put in our other games and focus on that. And that's not what we deserve. We WoW and WoW players deserve better, because we've been stuck with 5.4 for 14 months. We were bored out of our minds in Mists of Pandaria, and it seems that it's happening right now again. And I'm really frustrated. I'm really curious what is your guys' opinion, because I'm really starting to get done, and I'm really been loyal to Blizzard for so many years. The only moments I unsubbed is like I cannot play this game. I do not have time. I'm traveling. I'm the entire week away from home. I'm one day at home, and I don't have time to play, to even level a character. That's when I unsubbed. I always stayed subbed. I always played this game. And right now it's like after 10 years, I'm done, because I don't feel appreciated anymore. I don't think Blizzard is doing anything for me anymore and for the player base. And I think I'm really sad about it, but I really want to step away right now from World of Warcraft, and I'm really curious. Are there more people feeling like this? Let me know in the comments down below. How do you think about Warlords of Draenor? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's okay? And let me know the reason down below. Why do you love it? Why do you hate it? I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.